be doing writing an inequality. Same idea as when we wrote an equation from a word problem. Now we're just going to write an inequality from a word problem. And the big thing that helps you determine whether it's an inequality or an equation is phrases like at least, or no more than, at most, maximum, minimum, less than, greater than. Those types of phrases in your application problem is a strong indication that you need to write an inequality rather than an equation. And the reason is because we have a range of answers. We have infinite solutions, not just one single number. The steps to find that range are the same, okay? But we have a range of numbers. We have a range of possibilities. So a salesperson earns $800 per month plus a commission of 25% of sales. Find the minimum amount of sales needed to receive a total income of at least $1,800 per month. Okay? So when we're looking at income, we have a salary. Okay? A salary. This person earns $800 per month, no matter what. They just show up to work on time every day, clock out at the end of their day, they earn $800. Okay? Salary plus their commission will give them their total income. Okay?
So we need to sell $4,000?
Yeah, can you give me a minute?
Oh, my bad. I thought we were
It really is helpful in application problems if you can break down in words what your equation represents. Okay? Salary plus commission is total. Okay? And with any type of word problem, if you can break it down in words, your equation, then you can fill in what each thing represents. Okay? So salary. What is his salary? 800. So I can replace salary with 800. Plus, how do we calculate commission? Yeah. 0.25. I'm going to do X just because my S's look weird when I write on there. Yeah. So whatever variable, doesn't matter. Okay? X, S for sales. Okay? Just a variable. How do I know I'm doing multiplication of 25 and sales? Decimal, but sometimes decimals are division. Of 25% of a number. You multiply that number by the percent. Okay? Percent of a number is multiplication. So 25% of sales is going to be 0.25x. Okay? So those are getting multiplied together. Total income. What's the total income need to be? At least $1,800. So how do I write at least? Greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to 1,800. That's the at least $1,800 per month. Okay, greater than or equal to. So everything on the left needs to be greater than or equal to $1,800 a month in order to meet their quota. All right. So now we just solve. Step 1. Okay. Now what? Appreciate it. Baylor, what does that give me? There you go. Oops, it's 1 second.
I'm sorry, I thought that was like part of the question.
So, this salesperson has to sell at least $4,000 worth of merchandise in order to make $1,800 a month in income.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, so remember, it's a range of solutions. So if they sold $5,000 worth of merchandise, would that give them an income of at least $1,800? Yes. If they sold $3,900 worth of merchandise, would that give them at least $1,800? No. Okay? So being able to identify what possible solutions, as long as it's a number greater than or equal to 4,000, then we're good. Anything less than that is not going to meet that minimum requirement. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, conundrums? Look it up. Alright. Now, sometimes we're going to get equations. Okay? They're helpful. It's solid. We do have to make a couple adjustments, though. So, in the United States, the annual consumption of cigarettes is declining. Yay, healthy people. The consumption C in billions of cigarettes per year since 1990 can be approximated by this formula. So here I have a formula, okay, which measures consumption C in billions. Always make a note when they tell you what a variable represents. It's important to identify what that variable means. So they're telling us, hey, consumption is represented by the variable C, okay, in billions. T is the number of years after 1990, okay? So if the year is 1992, what is T? If T represents the number of years after 1990, what is T in 1992? 2. What is T in the year 2000? 10. What is T in the year 2005? 15. Okay, so T is a number of years after 1990. Use this formula to predict the years that the consumption of cigarettes will be less than 200 billion per year. Okay? Now again, that formula is telling us in billions, so you don't need to write out 200 billion. Please do not write out. Okay? C is measured in billions. Okay? We've got 200 billion, so I don't need to write out that whole long number. Okay? Way too many zeros. I need to make 2 changes to this formula to model this inequality. And again, I know it's an inequality because it has this phrase less than. Okay? What 2 changes do I need to make? I need to change the equal sign to an inequality. What else do I need to do? I can only solve. I have 2 variables.
One of these vertical forms, something like that.
200 for C. Okay? So, 200. Mark this smaller so I have room. 200. I need an inequality. Alright? And then negative 9.2 T plus 527.33. Now, before we put in the inequality, I want you to think very, very carefully. Okay? We're either going to be using less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Alright? Think about this. I want to predict the years that the consumption will be less than 200. So, is 200 need to be the biggest number or the smallest number? The biggest number. Because I want to find out when it's going to be less than that. So what inequality is going to indicate that 200 is bigger than the right side? Greater than. Even though the problem says less than, it's indicating your answer needs to be less than 200. Okay? Answer needs to be less than 200. So that's why the 200 gets the greater than sign. The 200 gets the greater than sign. Okay? Yeah.
So is it asking like how many?
It's asking for what year. Predict the year.
Wouldn't that be every year after that?
Yeah. So that's what we're finding. We're finding what year, and then every year after that, it meets it. So we're finding what years will the consumption. So we're going to figure out, okay, well, what year will it meet that criteria? And then the inequality will say, okay, this year and every year after. All right? So now, how do I solve? Now that I've got my inequality. Okay. 527.33 527.33 gives me what? Negative 327.33. Okay. Now what? Divide. Divide negative 9.2 t. Negative 9.2 t. $35 what? Okay, so we need to flip our inequality. Why am I flipping it? Divided by negative. Because I divided by a negative. I don't know why I put t in there. Ignore the fact that there's a t there. Ignore that. Ignore that. I don't know why there's a t there. My brain stopped working. Okay? So I divided by negative, so that means I got to flip that inequality. Okay? So t has to be greater than 35.57. T has to be greater than 35.57. Okay? So now I'm going to ask this question. Okay? I want you to think about it for 15 seconds before anyone answers. Okay? What year will the consumption be less than 200 billion? What year will the consumption be less than 200 billion? I want you to think about it for 15 seconds. It's been 15 seconds already? I said wait 15 seconds. Don't worry, I'll tell you. Baylor.
1991?
No.
You said every year after that.
What year will the consumption be less than 200 billion? 26.
Oh, this is 35.
T equals 35.57. Okay? So that means 35 and a half years after 1990 is when it hits 200 billion. Okay? So 2025, we're still at above 200 billion. But in 2026 or later, the consumption will be less than 200 billion. Okay? And here's how I can check. Okay? I'm not going to do the math, but I'm going to set it up. If T was 35 years after 1990, that's 2025. If I plug in 35 into this equation, I'm going to get a number that's larger than 200 billion, which means 35 does not work. The year 2025 is not less than 200 billion. It's greater than 200 billion. Now, sometime during that year, it's going to tick down, and then it's going to cross over, but I can't plug in the year 2025. It doesn't work. But if I round it up to 2026, T equals 35, I plug it back in, now I get a true statement where my consumption is less than 200 billion. Okay? So you got to think about those implications of those numbers and those roundings and what those answers mean. Okay? Questions, comments, or concerns? You have